I think we have done this. Oakland, the mothership has connected. Welcome aboard. We are live from Line 51 Brewing, where we are partying before the reverse boycott tonight. I'm alongside Bay Area legendary sports talk host Damon Bruce. Damon, how
Cheers,
are we?
Damon.
Cheers.
It is good to see you, man. Thank you.
It's a tasty
Gotta get my
beverage.
sip. Absolutely.
It's a tasty beverage.
It is wonderful to have you here. As you've already seen moving about this room that is full of A's fans and full of baseball fans, how much they appreciate you coming out here. Again, I drove over a bridge to get here. You went through several airports and about a 6-hour flight to get here. So thank you. Thank you for shining some light and attention on a group of fans and on a subject that I think deserve an awful lot more than they're getting. And you're a mensch, dude. You're all right by me, and you're all right by this crowd. You're loved in Oakland.
It means a lot, and this is a good crowd. Hey, guys, we are live right now. Let's hear it, everybody. We are live from Line 51 Brewing. We're going to be here over the next two and a half hours or so. We got amazing guests lined up. We've got former A's reliever Grant Balfour, who is part of one of the last great eras of A's
We're
baseball.
talking like, what, 96, 94 win baseball teams that the A's were cranking out back then in the early 2000s. And, you know, it's just unfortunate. There's so much. I mean, the entire tale, Damon, is unfortunate. All the different, avenues and things that might have happened and could have happened. And the last time the A's were great, unfortunately for them, the Giants were winning world championships. Right. So it was always sort of, even as they were peaking, it was sort of hidden in plain sight. And that is, without a doubt, a lever that this ownership group pulled on to make the case for relocation, which is something that they had to manufacture more than was ever true.
Well, all I know is that right now in front of us, we've got an old school bus, looks like from the 60s or so. Line 51.
Line 51, they didn't just pull that name out of a hat. This is the old bus route. The old bus route here in Oakland that would go right by the Castro Street, wherever we are here. And we have multiple buses. There's another bus right here. So it's an awesome place. We want to thank its owner, PT, who has done an incredible job rolling out the red carpet. And this is, not corporate owned. This isn't someone who has sold a whole bunch of stock to open a bar. This is a guy who opened a bar with his wife right before the pandemic. And just to let you know how sinister all of the business that's happening around the A's abandoning the city really is, Damon, is they opened this bar very much with the designs that Howard Terminal was going to happen. Right. This would have been along a walk to Howard Terminal if that ballpark had ever actually been conceived. So, they're just getting screwed coming and going here in Oakland by the A's.
Well, this crew that shows up, and you see some of them with the crowd show we've got going on right now. There's another 2/3 of the bar on the other side that's all filled with A's fans as well. They'll come out to reflect on their loyalty, their years of fandom, and memories that are going to be lost, unfortunately, for future generations if this relocation goes through. We'll get into a lot of this. Grant Balfour is going to join us. The mayor is going to join us from Oakland, and also Oakland native and hip-hop artist Festo D from the Souls of Mischief, who have one of the iconic hip-hop songs of all time, 93 to Infinity. He's going to join us. It's broken his heart to see the A's trying to relocate. So all of that is going to be baked into this show. We're going to hear from some of these great listeners and fans as the day goes on. But I just wanted to say that we want to give it up for Line 51 Brewery, everybody. Guys, let's hear it for Line 51, because this is such a good place. Let's hear it, everybody, for Line 51. This is a place. This is a place.
Well, if there's one thing A's fans have had an awful lot of practice in, is making a big noise for a small crowd. I mean, that's what they do. So A's fans have been incredibly passionate ever since the very first day I ever met them. And it's too bad that they have an owner who isn't a fraction as passionate as they are about Oakland baseball. And I think that this is, we got a lot of things to talk about here today, and we got plenty of time to do it. But really, I think maybe more than anything else, I think we all have to admit that everything that John Fisher is doing, none of it is criminal. There's no criminality attached to it. He's not breaking any laws. Yet at the same time, he's still one of the biggest criminals in the history of the city of Oakland. What he's doing to rob these fans of generational memories, not just memories that have happened and can't happen again, but the memories that won't happen with the group of children that you won't be bringing to a game 2-3 years from now if they're not here. The only saving grace of this entire organization is there's nothing that they don't screw up. And the fact that they are, telling everyone that sure thing they are going to Las Vegas doesn't mean that they are. It really doesn't mean that they are. And I'm sure that you saw the story in the news this week that already they are tinkering with the parameters of their first season being played in Las Vegas. They want to have a barnstorming tour and take, 10% of their season out on the road to drum up interest, or maybe go play, in a game in Japan or something like that. And it just shows you how fuzzy their numbers have always been. And it shows you that the numbers that they presented as their non-fuzzy numbers that include 100% sellouts for 81 dates in Las Vegas are already being undermined by the own team's business practices, for goodness sakes.
It's a disgrace in every single way. And that's why I'm brought into this mix, is because even from 3,000 miles away, it was so easy to sniff a rat here. This is 2 years ago when it seemed like they were closing in on Howard Terminal, the ballpark destination right here in downtown Oakland on the water, that we saw the renderings. They looked amazing. And then suddenly there was a pivot, and it was all hands on deck for Las Vegas. And it was like, well, why is that if they've got a ballpark here? And as we've unspooled this, it was very obvious. Bad faith ownership by John Fisher, bad faith negotiations by the A's ownership, and that there was always a foot out the door for one reason or another. And every story kind of comes back to this, that it's not that hard to sniff out a guy that has really bad intentions and is being a complete incompetent idiot about all of this. And so I've been shocked that the national media kind of just went with the story of, the A should relocate because there's no fans.
Well, it's easy. I'll tell you that crapping on misfortunate moments in the Bay Area is a long national media rite of passage. I mean, the city of San Francisco, it will always and forever be one of the most glorious jewels of a city that has its problems like every other city, but those get amplified for political reasons and for content reasons. And then when you get over to Oakland, they just double down on that amplification. And when you and I were talking before we even began our broadcast here today about all of the different elements of why John Fisher is pulling this team out of this city, I don't like to just insert race into something that doesn't have a place, but I really do think that John Fisher looks at Oakland and just goes, a little too black for me. I really do. I really think that that's a part of it. I think that he looks at this city through the lens of its problems with no inclination that he can be part of the focus of a future, of some positive touch points for a city that needs all the positive touch points it can get. And without the A's playing, what is there a reason for someone to come on into Oakland? It'll always be dwarfed by San Francisco's food scene and the nightlife scene. So it's one of the few things that the A's had left to offer to people to come on out and experience what really is a gorgeous city. I mean, you're out here today and it's gorgeous outside. It is absolutely beautiful. The people in this community are warm and they embrace anyone who comes to visit. And it's unfortunate that just dumping on the Bay Area has become such a cause celeb for people who just want to make noise in the news without actually backing it up with any facts or data or boots on the ground and knowing what's really happening.
Oakland's a great place, full of great people and great neighborhoods.
And truly an iconic baseball brand. The Oakland A's, the Athletics, have one of the deepest and robust all-time rosters, all-time trophy cases. And if you're talking about another thing that the A's were always bad at, it was selling that, selling their memories. The Giants are fantastic at selling memories. The A's were bad at it, but now we know why. It's intentional sabotage, David, from the jump, and it's happened slowly. This has been a slow-moving coup over the last 25 years of John Fisher's ownership. He never wanted it to work in Oakland, not from day one.
And that's the sin of this whole thing, is that I began talking about what I thought was obviously a con job. It just always smelled like a con job from John Fisher, a hidden personality that never spoke publicly. 20 years he hid behind the curtain.
Unaccountable.
Totally unaccountable.
I mean, unaccountable. You've never met a person in power with $1 billion who is less hesitant to explain anything, represent anything, including himself or his own organization in every moment of negotiation with the press. He's been absent the entire time.
Yeah, people should know that for 20 years he was the owner of the A's here in Oakland. He never did a public interview. He finally did one last year when finally the drumbeat was so loud that he was trying to go to Las Vegas, and he wouldn't even let the interview be broadcast on NBC Sports Bay Area. That broadcast or that interview could only be transcribed. So talk about a hidden, insecure figure who's going to uplift the team and even refuses to be on camera for the conversation. A conversation which he clearly dictated the question, still uncomfortable with that. So now we finally see him when the foot is out the door, go to Sacramento, and now there's, oh, look at this wonderful ballpark. We're going to Las Vegas, and he needs to gin up support in new places. But had he done any of that here in Oakland, there's a different narrative to be spun. And as I spoke about this, all these people in this room and hundreds, if not thousands, of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of others kept coming up in my mentions, YouTube comments. Dan, thank you for saying that. You have no idea. You have no idea. And I said, with all of this groundswell of support that I just get talking about this, how can they not recognize there is a base of fans here that will ride or die for you, and they are loud, even though they're quiet in terms of the national picture. When they are interacting with you, they're passionate, they're loyal, and they're loud. How can you miss that?
They were recognized, and they were intentionally silenced. It's been a robbing of dignity and culture and enthusiasm from fans from day one. Again, it's funny. As it was happening, it was hard to see. I thought that I had glommed onto it about halfway through, and I started talking about the A's through the negative prism of ownership, and I turned an awful lot of A's fans off. A's fans and I have a very complicated and long relationship,
right?
But I saw the train wreck coming, and I saw the empty suit that was Dave Kaval, just glad-handing people, filling their ears with what they wanted to hear, but then doing nothing to have any substance behind a single thing he did. He would talk a good game, but on game day, he would get shut out. And we just saw a guy whose only real talent was being born rich. I mean, really, there are a lot of people who might not be great talkers or great ambassadors, but they're very smart behind the scenes. They have political will and capital, and they know how to get things done. John Fisher, at no point in his life, has shown us any evidence that he can go from X to Z,
much less know the entire alphabet. I mean, he is
just someone who I honestly do not believe would ever have found wealth on his own unless it was handed to him.
No chance.
There's no chance. And what's amazing to me is how, again, not my opinion, not your opinion, we could prove in a courtroom with data to back it up how lousy of an owner he has been, and the fact that he is also conning Major League Baseball. And they haven't identified him as someone who is way too negligent to give the fertile soil of Las Vegas to. The guy has ruined the fertile soil of Oakland, and they're going to give him another market to ruin, and he will.
And I don't know if I believe they don't realize that. I mean, I think when you hear Jeff Passan from ESPN, Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic reporting, quietly owners behind the scenes are asking, why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. You can't trust what John Fisher's doing. I think his peers know that he's a disaster, and they know
because they are successful men. They are rich people with influence and power, at least locally, if not nationally. And how could they not recognize the empty suit? And look, there's also always been the argument that baseball loves its patsies. A third of the owners are looking for the last third of the owners to be much less than, because this is how, the Kansas City Royals were the Yankees farm system for all those years.
Right.
Beyond the Yankees farm system itself, right? So taking advantage of owners who get it wrong, I think has been a long tradition in Major League Baseball. But the fact that you would now take something as valuable as the city of Las Vegas and hand it to someone who has been so provably negligent, it's stunning to me that, the other false narrative is that, well, they circle the wagons around their own. This has not been the case in sports. Bad owners have been identified and ostracized throughout sports history, and why that's not happening to John Fisher, I don't understand it. I can't explain it, and the whole thing, just through the prism of what Major League Baseball has allowed to happen here in Oakland, it's not only damaged to me the brand of the A's intentionally, but it further damaged Major League Baseball's brand because you can't trust it.
No doubt. And you wonder who is at the wheel if they can't stop this. It's so obvious of a con. It's so obvious of a scam. It's engineered apathy. It's orchestrated apathy. It's all done by an owner that has bad faith intentions. And who's at the wheel? Who's at the wheel? That's the big question. So we have got my friend BZ, who's our sideline reporter.
I love it.
Okay. And so let's go over to the crowd cam
I love it. If you don't mind me saying, he's the least attractive sideline reporter in sports today. You're welcome.
So let's go over here. And why don't we grab this microphone?
Got it, David. Thank you, sir. Brian Zambor, man amongst the people here, and what we're going to be doing all day is just picking out fans from the crowd, and we've got Steve. Steve, introduce yourself. Tell me your name and where you're from.
Steve Lucero, Alameda, California, and a big A's fan since I was born.
Steve, one of the things that I've noticed just being here for the last couple of hours is the passion that A's fans have for this team, for this community. Can you tell me a little bit about where that comes from?
I'd say the passion comes from the people. The people of Oakland have always been resilient ever since Oakland's ever been around. The underdog attitude that we have in Oakland brings us together. We don't have the fair weather type of feeling. We have that. I'm going to go to every game, whether they win or lose, whether we have a down year, whether we sell our players. We love our team through and through, as well as our city.
And one of the things that I've also noticed is this passion comes out in a lot of different ways, creative ways. And tell me, how are you expressing that? And talk a little bit about the unique way that you're supporting this team and supporting this movement.
Yeah, so I decided to make these custom cards. My Instagram page, I sell custom cards. It's called Steve-O's Custom Cards. And I started making them for my son when I got priced out of the actual baseball card market. I started making him his own personal cards. And then when the A's decided they wanted to move, I started to switch my focus to kind of more of a boycott type, kind of more for charity, more for the movement, raise money. And that's kind of where I'm at now is I had a couple cards made for the Damons today as an appreciation for them to really, they give a crap about what we're doing. So it's just a thank you. And
what's your handle on Instagram so people can follow you if you'd like?
It's STEEVOW_custom_cards.
Awesome. And then as a quick follow-up here, what's your favorite thing to eat at the Coliseum?
You know, my favorite thing to eat is the burritos I bring in. Fortunately, they let us bring in food, and just bringing a burrito and buying the beer there is you can't beat it.
Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing about your passion. I'm going to throw it back to the Damons.
Absolutely.
All right, right on. That's how it's done. We got sideline reports over here. This is badass, and this is the card
that they made.
There's two in the world.
There's only two in the world.
Two in the world.
How cool are these collectors?
You've already taken yours out of the protective wrapping, which means mine is now more valuable.
Fans
An unopened package.
Fisher out, and this is just the type of thing that the crowd here just feels like they want to share, is that somebody heard them and they want to say thank you, and that means so much. And I just think you feel it with everybody in the crowd. Hey, thanks for saying something, thanks for coming out, thanks for doing this. You know, yeah, I flew in from New York yesterday, and I was bummed that I missed last year's Reverse Boycott, but in some ways this year felt more important because it's the last year of the Coliseum. One way or the other, if the A's hopefully do come back to Oakland, one would imagine it's now the Coliseum.
Do you realize that I'm going to and I'm not exaggerating, this is my 5th final game ever at the Coliseum. Between the Raiders and the A's now, this is my 5th final game ever at the Coliseum. And it is a shame. And again, the whole concept of Last Dive Bar being this fan group is there really is, and you'll see this when you get there, it's a dump, but it's a glorious dump.
Oh, yeah.
And it really, truly could have gotten that kitschy run as the worst bar that everyone still loves going to. There was so much opportunity, Damon. You'll walk in there and you will see the millions of dollars that they've decidedly chosen to have left on the table by making sure that their fans were poorly greeted, poorly served, poorly treated as guests. The number of actual points of concession that will be open, they probably won't have more than 10 concession stands open throughout the entire park tonight. Mount Davis was an absolute architectural disaster of the first degree, and it took away a gorgeous view of the Oakland Hills. And you remember in the Bash Brother A's, no one ever looked at the A's and evaluated them through the prism of the Coliseum. The Coliseum was a great place that rocked and had a really cool baseball team in it. Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson played here. Now they call it Ricky Henderson Field, which is just glad-handing fans for memories that they're otherwise denied. And so when you get in there tonight, I think you're going to agree, yeah, it's kind of disgusting, but it could have been great. It really could have been great.
So today is a complicated ball of emotions because this is the march to a final day at Oakland Coliseum, perhaps the final days of the A's in Oakland. But it's also a celebration, and for me, it's a recognition of the loyalty that the fans who had no business staying loyal to have done. And you spelled this out really well on Sunday night's Watch the A live show with me about how they've been presented with the worst partner in the A's, and they've stayed loyal. And this is an A's franchise that has tried at every turn to make the other person break up with them so that they couldn't be blamed.
Yes.
And so that this right here is an amazing group of people, because this is a group of people that said, we're not going to just go away because you tell us to. We're here until the bitter end. So I want this all to be a celebration of an amazing group of fans that stayed until the bitter end. And so with Grant, I want to talk about some great playoff moments and Oakland Coliseum moments, now quirky and crazy, playing a playoff game into the Oakland Coliseum. And when we have Festo D on a little bit later on, Oakland hip-hop legend, I want to ask him what his memories were growing up of watching the A's in the 70s and 80s, etc. And I want to make sure we tap into that too, because I don't want this to just be a funeral. I want it to be a celebration of life for these people that came out here to see us and to support the A's. We are going into the tailgate at Lot B after this. So if you want to go to the game, meet us in Lot B. We'll tailgate there. We're sitting in section 138 with the Last Dive Bar. You can come out and hang out with us. That's the left field bleachers. And what I am told is left field bleachers is where the party is.
Absolutely.
Which is where I need to be.
That's where you need to be. Left field bleachers, keep it real. But really all bleachers, I think, in all ballparks, keep it real,
That's true.
But these fans out there are very, very special. And you talk about what do the A's have? What is A's culture? Well, let's go Oakland. People rocking their vuvuzelas from that World Cup many years ago.
Right.
They've trickled in. People with their drums and their drum circles.
Everybody, one more time. Let's go. Let's go. What a great crowd. What a great crowd. Hey, let's hear it for Last Dive Bar, everybody. What a bunch of organizers. I mean, Last Dive Bar as well has just been amazing. Then with the Oakland 68s, what great fan organizers they are.
They've been incredible, and I'll tell you what.
Representative of a great fan base.
The A's never saw him coming. The A's never saw this groundswell of real, coordinated, smart fan groupings that these two entities have represented. And it would have been a lot easier to skulk out of town without the noise that Last Dive Bar and the Oakland 68s have made. And the fact that there's always been a charitable component. Sell flags. Absolutely. Bathe me in sell flags.
These are all over town. If you go up and down the highway, you'll see them. So, I mean, this bad boy is everywhere. It's ubiquitous here in the Bay Area. It's amazing in Oakland. Everywhere you go, you see one of these on the overpass. I mean, how about this flag, everybody?
Sell the team.
You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Let's hear it for everybody in here. Yes, yes. I'm seeing old school A's jerseys, 3/4 length sleeves. I'm seeing old 89 merchandise from the World Series. I'm seeing all this cool stuff. And joining us here on the show right now is a guy that was a closer for some of the best A's teams ever. That's saying something. But
Absolutely.
96 wins.
96 wins, 94 wins, 2011 and 12 were great years for the A's. I don't have headphones on. I'm not going to be able to hear Grant. You have to ask him what he thought about the Cespedes trade, because that was sort of like one of those, so what are you trying to do here? What are you trying to do? I understand they wanted more pitching, but you don't trade away your cleanup at bat when you are trying to do something special in that postseason. And the A's might have been, could have been, would have been. And another question that I would absolutely have for Grant was, what was it like to be on a really good team knowing that you were maybe a move away, but assured that that move was never coming? Because these players, you can't fool major leaguers.
Yeah,
they know the situation that they're in.
More flags are being walked around this area. So joining us here on the show is former closer of the A's. He was part of those amazing 11 and 12 teams, an all-star in there as well. 11, 12, 13, 2 playoff appearances. Unfortunately, 2 exits against the Detroit Tigers. But joining us here on the show, Watch DA Live from Line 51 Brewing in Oakland is Grant Balfour. Grant, how you doing?
Good, guys. How are you?
Doing great, man. Thanks so much for joining us. And this is a crew here that's giving you a round of applause. They love you. They love Rage. They're fired up around here. They've come out here to support the A's. And so what did A's fans, when you were playing here, mean to you?
Those guys are great. Wish I could be out there again. I know I was out there earlier in the year and had a great time. Always feel so welcome and loved out there by the fans. Always supportive of them and wish them all the best. And some great memories out there for sure.
I tell you, you were part of some of the most exciting teams of the last 15, 20 years, and there were some really cool moments at the Oakland Coliseum. So what was it like to be in the Coliseum, an old creaky barn, for an October playoff game when everything is on the line and the crowd that is there has been there for a long time? They're lubed up, they're energized, they're ready to go. What is October at the Coliseum like?
Honestly, some of the best playoff atmosphere I've been a part of. I know the stadium itself, isn't in the best shape maybe, but we made it home and we made it ours. And whoever came in there, we're going to make it tough on them to beat us. And I think we played very well at home. We put together a great team. And whatever's going to happen with that stadium, there's going to be always some great memories whenever people drive past that area, I think.
It's pretty cool just to hear you walk down through memory lane about those games, about those teams. But as Damon just brought up, what was it like to know that you guys were close, but you wouldn't get the help in a mid-season trade, in a late season addition? Was that difficult as a player?
Yeah, I think we're always strapped by the amount of money that was going to be spent. Obviously wasn't going to be any huge signings or anything crazy like that. So I think we believed in ourselves, and we knew that, the team that we had there, we're going to go and try and win it with everyone we had. Could we go out and get a huge bat and have some help? Obviously, yeah. I mean, times like that, sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, you got to find the right chemistry too. So just unfortunate we ran into the Detroit Tigers and Justin Verlander in Game 5, and basically threw up 9 zeros, and I think the second time around 8. So he was tough on us. He's been tough on a lot of people through his career. So, but I do believe if we could have got through them, we go to the World Series at least one of those 2 times,
Grant, was there a feeling that permeated the clubhouse that it was you against the opponent and your own ownership? Did the feelings of the front office and the way the front office went about doing business trickle into the clubhouse emotionally?
I mean, it's one of those things where you just believe in your teammates and the people around you, and you know what situation you're in, and you go out there and try to do your best and win as many games as you can. I was kind of, you knew that we weren't going to go out and spend $200 million on a team, $150 million on a team. That's not going to happen. But at the same time, it is what it is. And like I said, put a lot of faith in the guy next to me in the bullpen, the guy coming up to bat. And we believed in ourselves and what we could do. And we tried to get the most out of ourselves. And that's all we could control as a player.
What are your emotions as you watch this group of fans kind of rally in this final season? What goes through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are awesome. I just remember the crazy weekends out there, how loud it was, how pumped up they'd get me. I mean, it was like being on cloud 9 playing baseball out there. It was a lot of fun. We were winning games. We had the fans behind us. I could feel the love, and I wanted to give back as much as I could. So for me to go out there and shut out ball games, and for us to win as many games as we could, just trying to give back to the fans like that. And I'm seeing some things pop up here on the lines. Much love to you guys. Appreciate everyone out there. You still haven't forgotten 10 years later, and I really appreciate that.
What'd you see in the clubhouse or the tunnel at the Oakland Coliseum? Were there possums, other rodents, bats, perhaps birds? What'd you see down there?
Yeah, no. Every once in a while, I see the fluffy koala or the kangaroo that the lady would pull out for me as I was walking out there. Big Aussie A's fans, but I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff that'll be scattering out of that place whenever they blow that thing up. But yeah.
Ever worried about the wildlife that lived at the Coliseum?
Hey, they every once in a while you get something scattering across the field, and I would just steer clear of it.
Take us back to 2013 and the game in the ALDS against the Tigers, where it was one of the great pitching duels, Sonny Gray versus Justin Verlander. You came in at the end of that game, but that is a scoreless duel throughout the entire game. It is just an amazing game to go back on, but that was scoreless until the bottom of the ninth inning. What do you remember from that day at the Coliseum? That's October 5th, 2013.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember Sonny going out there throwing up zeros. That guy was, he was earlier in his career too. He wasn't the Sonny Gray is today, 10-year vet. He's still doing it. And shout out to Sonny. But yeah, he was still early in his career coming out of Vanderbilt there. And he went up against one of the best and matched him pitch for pitch and gave us every opportunity to win the game. It was awesome.
Verlander had 11 strikeouts and 1 walk that day. He went 7 innings of scoreless baseball. Sonny Gray had 9 strikeouts, 2 walks in 8 innings of scoreless baseball. Then finally you close it out for the victory.
Grant, dozen years in the major leagues. When you walked into other clubhouses, how much tangibly different was that than being with the A's? Again, when you were with the A's were really at the pinnacle of the John Fisher ownership group. But what was it just like to be on other teams, and how much different did that feel? What perks were you provided in those moments where maybe with the A's you were denied as a clubhouse?
Yeah, I mean, the clubhouse there was a lot to be desired. It was definitely not the greatest clubhouse there is in the league. We had to make do with what we had. I know there were certain situations with the plumbing at certain times, having to use an upstairs locker because you got a backwash of sewerage or whatever coming through there. I know these days they've kind of cut it back, but we'd have September call-ups and they'd wheel in these makeshift cabinets. And I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? It was, it wasn't the best setup. It was pretty crowded. It's sort of, you can sit back and laugh about it. But I guess the one bright side is I did get to sit in the hot tub that Rolly Fingers used to sit in and then come out and close games. So
that's a big deal.
That was a big deal. I wouldn't mind getting a hold of that silver hot tub, actually.
You need that for your backyard or your home office.
I do.
That Rolly Fingers once sat in is a big deal for Grant.
As it should be. As it should be. We're not.
One request, guys, before they blow that place up, I wouldn't mind an opportunity to get the hot tub.
Okay, we will put that request in for you there, Grant. And we actually have an autographed poster of you from Fans Fest as well that we're giving away today with the raffle. So all these fans out here, they're loving you. They gave you a huge round of applause when you came on the show. They remember you well. They're looking for your autograph here. So thanks for the memories. Thank you for joining us. It means a lot to everybody here. It means a lot to us as well that you joined us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on anytime, and love what you guys are doing out there. And hey, go A's. Love you guys. Thanks very much.
Right on. Appreciate that. Grant Balfour, everybody. Let's hear it for Grant Balfour.
The rage, the Balfour rage.
For those that couldn't hear in the back. For those that couldn't hear in the back, he said, "Thank you to A's fans. I love you, and I appreciate all the memories." That's what Grant just said on the air.
It's funny. You talk to a lot of major leaguers who wore an A's uniform, and they reflect on their time that they spent with this team. The way that bands that, once they break big and start selling out Madison Square Garden, reflect with warm memories on their garage band days.
Totally.
The A's really were the smaller outfit, the trying, do hard, trying to, get it right, while other major league teams were throwing money at problems and free agents at their problems. The A's always had this garage startup feel to
That's a
them.
great comp.
And this is when they were a really good outfit.
Yeah.
I mean, this was, peak Moneyball, kicking and breathing. Maybe the last breaths of Moneyball. The A's really did. They had a schematic advantage on Major League Baseball. And then they lost that advantage with the publication of the book.
Yeah.
Once
No
you
longer
were
a secret.
once you were able to take proprietary practices and apply money to them in other major league cities, you got the Boston Red Sox winning their first World Series in a million years.
Yeah.
That could have been the A's.
Yeah.
That could have been the Oakland A's.
It's a great point. So cool to have Grant here on the show. We're kind of checking a lot of different boxes. We want the politics behind this. The mayor's going to join us probably in about a half hour from now. We want the native son, so Festo D from the hip hop group Souls of Mischief is going to join us. And now we have the former A's, one of the most popular A's players ever joining us, Grant Balfour. And right now, more sideline reports. Let's go to the crowd cam as BC is standing by with his Oakland Coliseum Schroff t-shirt from the last dive bar.
Thank you, DA. Coming to you live here with the Trough t-shirt on. Highly recommend. And I'm here with another Oakland A's fan, Jared. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you became an A's fan.
Well, I'm an A's fan. I grew up in the East Bay in Concord. And I became an A's fan growing up, going to A's games, getting tickets from the kids' reading programs that we do through the library. And we would go out to the games, sit in the top level, and watch people like Ricky Henderson, Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, Walt Weiss, Terry Steinbach, Dave Stewart, all of that. That was my era. The 80 World Series champions group.
That's fantastic. And, one of the things that we were talking to Steve about earlier was the passion that you guys bring to this fan base, which is honestly unlike any other that I've seen. And the way that you express that passion, and tell us a little bit about what you're doing, because it's pretty cool, and we're actually we're a part of this right now as we speak, correct?
Yeah. So I partnered with another filmmaker. His name's Gabe Cullen, and him and I both are filmmakers, and our passion is telling stories. And after attending the Reverse Boycott last year in June, I felt inspired that I had to get this story out for people to know. And so we've been documenting the fans and the different fan groups as they fight to keep their team here in Oakland. And we've been telling this story or capturing the story for over a year, it feels like, and then somehow got pulled into it, and we're kind of part of the story now. So took part in the whole movement.
Well, as we're talking, the camera on the documentary is rolling, so we're in the movie as we speak. And you're mic'd up. What
I would have gotten the bad shoulder from the other team if I didn't record something. So
well, you got to be mic'd up. Well, I appreciate your time. Real quickly before we leave, what is the most random A's player that you could think of? I'll share mine first to kind of give you a moment. Lance Blankenship, ladies and gentlemen.
I know of Lance Blankenship, and that was the talk around town. Is he going to get called up all through grade school for me? So Lance Blankenship. Another one. He's not as crazy, but I always enjoyed Jack Cust, but he did not go too far into the realm of history, but I always enjoyed him.
Listen, I love a good Jack Cust drop. He could hit some bombs. He was fun to watch hit. I think he was traded to Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, or came from Arizona, so something like that. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Jared, thanks again for sharing your story.
Of course. Thanks so much.
All right, back to you, Damons.
Right on. Great stuff. A Jack Cust reference. I love that. Going random A's, Jack Cust.
Oh, sure.
Love it.
Can we, I always get excited when I see a John Jaha jersey.
Oh, it's so good.
John Jaha jersey tonight. You will see a Sal Bando jersey at some point tonight. Obviously Ricky Henderson's everywhere, as he should be. Ricky should be everywhere Ricky can be.
That's right.
But yeah, there are just give me a Terrence Long jersey tonight.
Oh, it's a great one.
T-Dog. There are so many great A's, and again, one of the greatest trophy cases in Major League history. One of the single coolest all-time alumni in Major League history. Imagine if you had an owner who loved the city that he occupied and paid honor to the great players who are from the city.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking Vita Blue is from here. Dave Stewart from here. Ricky Henderson from here.
Unbelievable.
You know, and all of these guys have basically been just pushed so far off the center stage.
Like, how many great Yankees are from New York City?
No, not many.
I mean, a handful.
Not many,
barely.
right? Yeah. And there was an element of local pride. There was an element of black pride. There was an element of this is our town, and we, you know, the A's won an ungodly amount of world championships before, like, ring culture really started being celebrated.
Right.
Before, I'll tell you, if this had happened, if the peak A's had happened in the disinfectant and sunlight of social media, what is happening wouldn't even be allowed to happen.
Like the 70s A's, 72, 73, 74, or the 80s A's, the Bash Brothers A's?
Either.
Yeah.
I mean, either, really. I mean, you got more championships in the earlier inception, but you had the ultimate cool A's team in
3
that
straight
later
World
inception.
Series.
I mean, I grew up in upstate New York, and I had a Bash Brothers poster on my wall.
Yeah.
And when you think about, too, you know, any team is really never more valuable than its laundry. Let me just say that I've always thought that the A's have some of the most glorious uniforms in Major League history.
They're beautiful.
The all-white, head-to-toe, dapper Oakland A's is like the cleanest uniform I think you can find in baseball.
Totally.
When they rock the Kelly green, and you see so many fans rocking the Kelly green jerseys, it just works. It's cool. Script Oakland is cool. It just looks cool as hell going across a jersey, and it's just a shame. It's just an absolute honest-to-God shame, DA, that they have taken something that had so much history and cool factor built right into it. You didn't even have to work for it. It was just there. You inherited it, John Fisher, and you still squandered it all.
Deplorable.
Only a rich kid could squander inheritance quite like this.
I'll tell you what, though. It's amazing that what is happening to the A's fans is starting to conjure up support of other fan bases. I know just through Watch DA Live, my Twitter feed, doing the show on both CBS Sports Radio and now SiriusXM, there's a lot of my listeners that are like, yo, we're down for the cause. We are down for A's fans. This is robbery, what's happened to them. And I understand why Vegas fans want a baseball team. They've got football. They've got hockey. They're performing very well in hockey attendance-wise.
Right. The good folks in Vegas have done nothing wrong.
And this is not a shot at Vegas can't support a baseball team. This is about rewarding a fan base that has been kicked to the curb too many times. And I think there's people around the country going like, yeah, they're totally getting robbed. And they feel like they're very empathetic towards something like this. And maybe to cities that have lost teams as well, they're feeling like, yeah, I remember how crummy that was. Cleveland got the Browns back. Baltimore got the Ravens after the Colts left. Houston got the Texans after the Oilers left. But I think there's the real fear around here that once the A's leave, there's nothing that's going to come back to replace it.
Well, and again, there's an awful, sweet movement happening with the Oakland Ballers, their independent league team that has taken over a once unloved baseball field in Oakland. And I think they drew like 7,000 fans to their home opener, which is pretty impressive.
Really
You're looking at it this way, the A's would love to draw 7,000 fans to any game that they have right now. But there's a passion for sports that is being so underserved with the fact that the Raiders have relocated, that the Warriors have moved from the same parking lot that the A's will be in tonight over to San Francisco. Again, just opportunity squandered. Imagine being the last guy in the room and how popular you can be if you're the last guy in the room.
That's
and the
the
A's had that opportunity. And one of the reasons why the Raiders had to leave, DA, is because the A's squatted on the Coliseum with all of these improvements that the Raiders wanted for NFL games that they said, no, that can't happen because that will then further muddle up our vision for what the Coliseum will be when it's only ours. And then the carpet gets pulled. The rug gets pulled right from underneath them. And that's what Line 51, the brewery that we're sitting in right now, this brewery was built with Howard Terminal, 100% being a built real location. This would have been along the walk to Howard Terminal.
This would have been in New York City stands, which is just outside of the Yankee Stadium. This would have been any one of those Wrigley bars.
Absolutely.
Huge
Could have
party
been the Cubby
place.
Bear. Could have been the A's version of the Cubby Bear.
Yep.
No doubt about it. Could have been Murph's Bleachers. Could have been a lot of things. When you look at the A's, the only thing you can think of is what could have been, what might have been. That's the only lens you can really look at them through these days. From not just a fan standpoint, from a stadium standpoint, but from a competition standpoint. I mean, let's remember, this is all about winning major league games. And the A's have so retreated from the concept of even trying to win major league games routinely at the major league level. And again, these are not opinions. These are not hot takes. These are trackable moves. We can track dollars spent to try to win in a sport where you have to spend dollars to win. And the A's are, at best, the meal car. They're usually the caboose.
I've got some stickers that we produced here from Watch DA Live that are down for the cause, and we're going to give them out around here. But also, I will have these for our listeners around the country that just want to put a sticker on a laptop, on a binder, at their cubicle, on their bumper, what have you.
Put them on everything.
Down for the cause.
Put them on everything.
It's in A's colors, and we're rocking with this crew because they've supported me. And I know that, my listeners that might be dotting around the country that listen to me on the radio or now watch DA Live, they know that this is one of our most passionate fan bases and locales. And so I think, we've done what I feel is a great job of kind of weaving together different fan bases to be like, hey, this is happening over here. Hey, this is happening over here. This is one big family. So I know there's just a lot of fans across the country that are like, yeah, we want to be there. And they've bought stuff from Last Dive Bar, lastdivebar.com. If you use the code Mothership, you get 15% off. So go to lastdivebar.com. And I've had a lot of listeners that are not A's fans necessarily. They're like, yeah, no, I want to buy a t-shirt.
No, it doesn't apply to every major league franchise. But this could happen to you too.
That's right.
This could happen to you too. All it takes is an owner who has given up on one town, wants another, and made that the priority, and this can happen to you too. And you see it happening with, what the Kansas City Chiefs would like to find a new stadium, and they're threatening to move. I mean, it's absolutely preposterous, the amount of, well, if you don't do what I say as a municipality, I'm going to take my ball and go somewhere else now. And it is disgusting how that has become the norm and accepted as, this is now like an opening gambit to any sort of negotiation.
Right.
You have owners all across sports who want to subsidize the funding for their stadium, but privatize all profit from said stadium.
I wonder, how do you feel like the Oakland mayor is going to be received here? Because she is due in here, and I thought this was some of the most interesting things. Last Dive Bar has been amazing, fan organized. They've invited me down here to do this with you, and they've been the connective tissue to the fans and us and our broadcast. And you can watch Damon constantly at Damon Bruce Plus on YouTube.
Should we tell everyone it's not the fact that we're both named Damon that brought us together? It was the A's.
It's true. I mean, we've known each other in the business for a long time, and I picked your brain because you've had more experience than I have in situations. But the A's really did bring us together. The Last Dive Bar has been that connective tissue. And so when we said we're going to do this broadcast, they reached out to the mayor's office.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, yeah, we're in, or at least her team said we're in. So it's interesting. The mayor's office realizes how important this situation is as well, and is willing to come down here in front of a bunch of A's fans and deal with what I'm sure is a room full of people that are really upset by local politics as well, my guess is.
I mean, I think that there's plenty to be upset about. I'm not going to even pretend to be an expert on the details, but I can tell you it always takes two to tango. The city of Oakland wanted to tango with the A's more than the A's wanted to tango with the city of Oakland.
Right.
And that was evident in each and every documented negotiation point when Madam Mayor sits down with us. My very first question for her is, how many times have you been in the same room with John Fisher? Have you and John Fisher ever been in the same room together? And cheers to you. Another cheers. You're outpacing me at this point.
I mean, at this point, I just have to put up my right hand like I need the righty out of the bullpen, and they just bring the beer around.
That's
so
incredible.
I'm just going to keep doing this because this beer is great.
You kind of feel like Kotze. Bring one in.
That's right.
Bring one in.
That's right.
We're going to go see Blue Jays and A's tonight.
Yeah.
You know, two teams that are decidedly going about business differently. I think every team in baseball goes about business differently. Similar results right now, but it's not for a lack of. I mean, that's the beauty of the thing of baseball. You can throw an awful lot of money at a baseball team, and it can still not get the job done.
Totally.
The A's have taken that theory, that experiment, and have stretched it as thinly as humanly possible to the point where you could read your newspaper through it. That's how thin that they have actually stretched it. And now you see that just, the jig is up. Everyone knows now. When you lay all your cards on the table the way that the A's have done, I think it's smart business as a fan to say, I think I'm done with it. I think I'm done with that. We have enough problems in our own lives, in our own world, to have a major league team presenting, not only a headache in the standings, but a headache to your emotional well-being. And that's what the A's have done to these fans, and they still come, and they're still here. And I'm telling you, all it would take, the way that Washington Commanders season tickets went rampant and interest climbed instantly the minute Daniel Snyder was out of the picture. The exact same thing were happening here. If by the end of the show we were announcing that John Fisher was selling to that person or that person or that person over there, the city of Oakland would probably have 50,000 people at Saturday night's A's game.
No doubt about it. I'll tell you, this has been a great event, and we're going to be out of the left field bleachers coming up here, section 138, a little bit later on tonight at the game. I wanted to ask you, though, Damon, give me your thoughts, having been a Bay Area sports talker for so long, about maybe the peak of when you were doing sports talk and their peak, what it was like. Were there A's fans that were calling in? Were they vocal?
Yes. When you gave this fan base something to root for, something to cheer for, not something to apologize for, they were vocal. Unfortunately, when the A's were in their last great moment, the Grant Balfour teams, the 94 win, the 96 win team, I was still on the Giant flagship station. And that was 2010 and 2012, and the Giants won World Series in those years. Right. And then again in 2014. Right. Thank you so much
look at this.
for the beer. Cheers.
Line 51 is just bringing them around. Love it.
There you go. Well, there we go.
Appreciate you.
I hope that applies to when DA leaves. Because I'm here. I'm local. If I don't buy beers in this town, I'll see it tomorrow. But, it really is, as a radio station, we were an A's flagship station when I moved from KNBR to 95.7 The Game. And at that point, the John Fisher getting out of town game plan was really being enacted to the point where we weren't getting interviews and we were not getting a partnership with a flagship entity that we used to have. As a flagship, it was like the A's didn't want to come on our channel either.
Which is mind-boggling if you know the business. Right. When you have a flagship partnership, okay, everybody likes to play protective of athletes and managers, but at the same time, if they're going to go on any outlet, they got to go on the flagship.
Right. And it was happening more and more infrequently, and at some point, it really started eroding. And as a radio station, you're in an audience business. The A's clearly made the choice to no longer be in the audience business. So it made the relationship that my, at the time, station was in with this team incredibly difficult. We were also just wrapping up being the Raiders flagship. They were abandoning the city. So there was just this feeling of everyone is walking away from us all at the same time, including our own local radio station that a lot of A's fans felt. And I tried to explain to them what was going on behind the scenes, and it's always odd. Sports fans are protective of their own owners too. Don't you tell me that my owner isn't as good as the next owner, and you'd have fans wanting for a great outcome, speaking the total opposite of everything that we could say is happening, but you have that blind loyalty. That is part and parcel of any fan base, that blind, this is my team, and even if they're fucking it up, I'm still going to support them.
Right.
And that was a bad feeling that was left in everyone's mouth. And then Dave Kaval, who's been the empty suit president of the Oakland A's, Dave Kaval comes in, right? Dave Kaval comes in. You see, you getting a little Casey Pratt love over there?
I love Casey.
I love Casey too.
Local television sports anchor.
Dave Kaval is literally pulling his radio equipment out of the station, tweeting, it wasn't us, it's you.
Oh, God.
No. It was quite the opposite, really. You didn't even give us tickets to give away. You wouldn't give us a suite to give away. You have 35 empty concrete bunker suites to give away. Can we have one?
Unreal.
Nope. Nothing.
Let's go to the sideline reporter, because standing by with BZ right now, who's a longtime friend of mine back in our college days. He, though, lives here in the Bay Area, and he's supporting the cause as well. He lives in Sacramento, so he's a little north of the Bay Area. But he's standing by with Darren. Darren told me before the show today, he flew in from Winnipeg.
He's an original Winnipeg Jet.
That's right.
It's like we got Timu Solani on the show. This is incredible.
Hello, everybody. Again, Brian Zambor, your man of the people, here with another A's fan. Now, I know that Damon Bruce traveled across the Bay. Damon Amendolara traveled across the country. But we have an A's fan here that took a journey a little bit further than that. This is Darren. Darren, tell us where you're from.
I came down from Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. Okay. We have A's fans here from Winnipeg. Now, are you from Oakland, or have you always been from Canada?
No, I was born in Winnipeg. I just came down, had to come to see the Reverse Boycott.
Okay, so living in Winnipeg, growing up in Winnipeg, tell me, how did you become an A's fan? I mean, that's pretty unusual.
You know what? It all started with my 1983 baseball sticker album. My favorite player was Dave Kingman, and that's how it all started.
Dave Kingman, I mean, he hit a lot of home runs, and as a kid in '83, I can imagine that was fun to watch. And he's a great player, and it certainly goes down in A's lore. Tell us a little bit more about your trip to Oakland. Is this your first time here?
This is probably I'm here with my wife and my son. This is our fourth time in the last 10 years, and so we try and come down semi-regularly whenever we can afford it and make it happen. So
now that's fantastic. Now, when I was talking to you earlier, you said you've been in town for a couple of days, and you actually went to a Ballers game last night. And the Ballers, for those that don't know, are part of the new Pioneer League team here in Oakland. And what struck me is that, you're an A's fan, but you came in town early to see the Ballers, and it makes me feel like you are Oakland through and through. And, so not only are you an A's fan from Winnipeg, but you feel like you're part of this community and you've been here for a while.
I really do. When I heard the news about the A's and the relocating, I mean, it broke my heart. I went through that in the 90s when the Jets left Winnipeg, and to go through it again, I mean, it really hurts. And so when I heard about the Reverse Boycott, I missed last year's, but I had to be here for this year's.
Well, we're absolutely happy to have you. I mean, just an amazing time here, and thanks so much for coming down. Quick question before I throw it back to the Damons. What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal would have to be the possum.
And that's the correct answer. So I'm going to throw it back now to the Damons. Here you go.
Thank you, BZ. Thank you, Darren. Nice job.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Darren came in from Winnipeg. That guy's from Winnipeg. Let's hear it. That's a Winnipeg A's fan that traveled in for this broadcast.
We're going to get tighter.
This broadcast, this game, this day, we are standing by with. This is amazing because the A's relocation has created friends of mine. I feel like lifetime friends of mine now. And Casey's one of them. Casey Pratt, local sportscaster here in the Bay Area, has reached out to me over social media over the years. Hey, check out this story. Hey, you're on the point on this. Hey, you might want to look at this. And we finally met in person over at the Super Bowl in Vegas over February. Got to meet in person, spend a little time. We got lost in the media center together, so we really got time to bond. But I feel like through this whole thing, Casey and I now are bonded for life here, and he joins us.
A lot of local sports TV guys are just teleprompter readers and kind of schmucks. Casey's not one of those guys. Casey's the real deal. He's been out here for years. He understands the culture. He understands the team. He understands the problems. And he, unlike a lot of people, is not afraid to discuss them. So he's a valuable member of this movement that is happening. To what degree the movement has any success, I don't know, Casey. I mean, it feels like the single best chance these A's fans have is that John Fisher screws up everything, and getting stuck in Sacramento is to me, that almost sounds like a good outcome for A's fans locally at this point in time.
Yeah, it's hard to say that's a good outcome. I've been thinking about it. If he gets stuck in Sacramento, at least it's a drive.
Right.
You know, at least it's a drive. We don't have to fly somewhere to see the A's if you're an A's fan. And by the way, you know, I don't want to change all my social media handles, so I'm just going to change my middle name to Damon for this because I feel left out. There's Damon here. There's Damon here. You guys are dominating this coverage tonight. And, yeah, I'm just honored to be here. But, yeah, Sacramento, it would be a fitting end for the A's to end up the Triple A's.
Well, don't you think in some way that Vivek Ranadive sees exposure in John Fisher? And I don't think he invited him up there to be good roommates. I think he invited him up there to steal his team from him and create a situation where Sacramento becomes the hurdle that the team can't clear to get to Las Vegas. I think Vivek is not here for altruism, shall we say.
Well, it was interesting because when Sacramento started negotiating in this play for the A's, you know, going against Oakland, who was trying to keep the A's for these, at least the rest of the lease years, Vivek kept saying that John Fisher was his friend. And you would see John Fisher sitting courtside with Vivek. So I do believe there is some aspect of, I guess, what you would call genuine friendship among billionaires with those guys. But I do think, and I do have some insights into Vivek's thinking, let's just call it that. And I don't think he believes that Vegas is going to happen, and he wants to have himself set up in a position to keep Major League Baseball in Sacramento when it does not.
Tell us why you don't think Vegas will happen.
Well, I actually do think Vegas will happen. I know it's an unpopular opinion. I think the forces behind the move are too powerful. You have Major League Baseball.
It would be so embarrassing for Major League Baseball.
You have Major League Baseball, all their owners, all their influence. You have, you know, the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, all their influence. And most importantly, you see the influence in gambling and sports right now. And I'm not making anybody happy saying this, but, you know, if you go there, and we were just there, I walked the site, and the thing that jumped out to me was you look around when you're standing on the Trop, and it's MGM property, MGM property, MGM property, MGM property, and you go, oh, I get it now. You know, that was the eye-opening experience for me. So if MGM wants it, you know, it's going to be hard for it not to happen.
But you can see a team that is literally constructed and held up like a house of cards on fuzzy numbers.
100%.
Their
100%.
fuzzy numbers are now even more fuzzy. And just this week, we learned that the A's want to take 10% of their now home schedule.
Classic.
And do a barnstorming. Right.
They don't even have the funding yet from the taxpayers, and they're saying we need games.
Part and parcel of their entire business model is 81 sellout dates, which on the surface of that alone is absolute insanity. But 81 home dates sold out. Oh, did we say 81? We really meant 71. And that changes math greatly. And all I can urge everyone in Las Vegas is consider who you're about to get into bed with. And also consider the fact that if you don't get into bed with this guy, there's another team coming.
That's right.
There's an expansion team coming. There is another team that might not many want to talk about. There's Major League Baseball will get to Las Vegas. You do not need the A's to bring Major League Baseball to Las Vegas. It's going to happen. So why would you bring in the dimmest bulb in the chandelier?
See, that's the point I've been making the whole time. It's that expansion is money for every owner. So why would you give that market away for free and waive a relocation fee and keep paying revenue sharing to this guy? At what point does this break the owner's bank? So I think everybody out there does deserve Major League Baseball. I think Vegas would be a great market for Major League Baseball. I think the route for that is expansion. And when you see how the A's ownership has handled this entire situation out here, how they're now handling it in Vegas, I know the show Succession, you guys probably saw it. Logan Roy, shout out. You are not serious people.
You're
And
not serious people.
That is what I've been saying all along. You look at this 10% of games situation. I don't think they will likely end up playing 7 to 8 games away from Vegas every year, but that has wrinkled and pissed off so many people out there. It's almost like the straw that started breaking the camel's back on this deal. They're not doing anything to hype up Vegas. And when you say the reason, you guys, is because they need to build their brand. They have to play outside of Vegas to build their brand. What have they been doing the last several years?
That's right.
Destroying their own brand. Literally destroying their own brand, raising ticket prices, trading away all the players, slashing payroll, slashing everything. They've done nothing but harm to their own brand for the last several years. Now they're saying they have to hurt their own Vegas deal to build it back up. It's like, what are we doing here?
It's a joke. Casey Pratt is one of the good dudes. Follow him on social media at Casey Pratt, ABC7, ABC7 Bay Area Sports. Casey, I would have you on for the entire hour, except we've got the mayor of Oakland waiting in the wings. So you only get bumped for a few, but the mayor's got to be one of them.
Let me just say, I've gotten to know the mayor very well in this process. I like the mayor. We're friends, and I think that she's going to bring a lot to this table right here. She probably won't change her middle name to Damon like I did, but
well, thank you, Casey. I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping on by, man. Great to see you.
Man, dude.
Thanks, Rose.
Appreciate you. Casey Pratt joining us here on the show. It is Watch GA Live and Damon Bruce Plus. Casey Pratt, everybody. This guy you hear is getting an ovation because he's been a hero amongst the people, telling the real story of what's going on right now. And the mayor of the city of Oakland joins us here on the show. Mayor joining us here on the program. Sheng Thao here on the show. Mayor Thao was elected in 2022, was a member of the Oakland City Council for a number of years, became president of the Oakland City Council, and then became elected with the mayoral position here in the city of Oakland. And Mayor, thanks so much for coming on down. I know it means a lot for people here just to try to understand, the inner workings of what's going on.
Absolutely. It's my honor to be here. When we talk about fighting for our home team, I couldn't have done it without these amazing fans. And that's the truth of it all, is that, what we showed the world, and I really do mean that when I say what we show the world, is that when you work with a strong fan base who's committed, and when you work with leadership who's also committed to say, you know what, enough's enough, what's fair is fair and what's not is not, this is the beautiful thing that you get, is that you get not only bringing people together, but also understanding, and for the rest of the world to know that status quo is not going to fly anymore. Yeah.
My very first question to you: how many times, Madam Mayor, have you been in the same room with John Fisher, physically shared the same space?
Once.
Mm-hmm. If that doesn't represent bad faith negotiation, what more could?
You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, it was just once in a room together physically, and then both of our teams were working towards a deal, and to just head in a strong direction. You can't help but feel, and this is the actual facts, it's like every time we've reached the goal of what they want us to reach, they move that goalpost again. Consistently. And this is not once, it's not twice, it's not 3 times, it's over and over and over. And so at the end of the day, it's really, we're tired of playing the game,
Well, I could not help but notice that the closer that Howard Terminal came to becoming a reality, the faster the Vegas initiative took place.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because right when they realized, I think that they thought that this mayor was going to come in, that I was going to come in and...
By the way, can I also say this too, Madam Mayor? You inherited a huge pile of shit.
I sure
You did. You inherited a massive, from Libby Schaff before you, Mayor Kwan before even Libby. I mean, I remember Mayor Kwan coming on my radio show at the time saying that the Sultan of Brunei would help the A's stay in Oakland. And that is how much misinformation that the team was feeding its home city.
Yeah.
The team actively fed wrong information to its home city looking for solutions. As Oakland was looking for solutions, the A's were looking elsewhere.
At the end of the day, when I walked into all of this, I was hoping to bring new energy to the conversation. But it was, and I asked John Fisher in that one meeting that we had face to face, and I said, look, if there's no pathway here, and this is, then let's say that, because we don't have a lot of staff time, and staff time is money.
Right.
It's expensive.
Right.
And we're not billionaires.
Does Oakland have any other problems other than a Major League Baseball team?
Exactly, right? And so at the end of the day, he said, no, I really do want to stay here in Oakland. And that's the only reason why we invested so much time into it. And to just then be told, or I think I read in the papers, like from the commissioner saying, like, really like the mayor, but like the ship sailed before she even got into office. And so it's like the playing of games and the misuse of public resources, whether it's like lying to us, saying that they're really rooted in Oakland, want to try to make it work, or just a waste of resources of like everyone else's time in Vegas.
Man hours.
Yeah. And then the fans, an emotional roller coaster. It's like emotional abuse.
Tell us what you think John Fisher's end game is. Why do you think he didn't negotiate in good faith when you guys were pretty close to finding a deal?
I think at the end of the day, I don't know what his real rationale or reason is, but of course, like when because a lot of the things that they do don't make a lot of sense. But if you pick up a team and you move it to Las Vegas, obviously you can sell the team for a lot more, right? That could be it.
But if they got a new ballpark here, they could sell the team for a lot more as well. So that part doesn't quite equate.
No, that's exactly right. So it doesn't even like add up. And I'm just not sure what the end goal is here.
You know what I think is happening here? Gap stock is down across the board. He's looking to increase the value of a team with a relocation, and then he's going to sell. The amount of billionaire that he could become right now by selling right now to a group that would keep the team in Oakland doesn't sound nearly as impressive to him as the amount of billionaire he could be further down the road.
At the end of the day, I think that it'll be great for everyone if he just sold the team.
Yes.
To somebody who actually loves baseball. Because when you love baseball, you understand what it means to the fans. You know what I mean? Even if you don't even have that lived life experience of being a part of a working family, you can understand that fans are attached to the team as if it's their family member.
Absolutely.
These are historical, memories that they've had with their
generational,
right? And they want the same memories. They want to create the same memories with their kids, right? And so I just hope that at the end of all of this, that there's some resolution in regards to making sure that owners of these teams, that they really do care about the sport that they're trying to be a part of.
Honestly, how close to Howard Terminal being greenlit, shovels going in the ground, did you get on your end?
Oh my gosh, we were so close. I mean, I'm talking about like signatures. Like we agreed to this and we can move forward on like the smaller details, right? And it was that night. And I think that I was told that night by my negotiators, I was at an event and they said, hey, our last conversation went really well. So I think it's tomorrow. Got in my car, 6 p.m. and I got a phone call from Dave Kaval saying like, hey, we're going to actually turn our full attention to Las Vegas. Sorry. And I'm like,
So I feel like we're friends now.
Yes, we are.
To be a politician, you have to deal with a certain amount of bullshit, which I'm guessing gives you an incredible bullshit detector. How much did your bullshit detector blink red whenever you talk to Dave Kaval? That's a you just answered the question.
Good answer.
You just answered the question. Thank you.
Your background is also of somebody that understands Oakland. You were living out of your car at one point in time as a single mother of Oakland, of the soul of Oakland, which has helped you understand your constituency, your voters. So when you speak to them and you see this group of people that have A's shirts on, and you know how close it could have been, how heartbreaking is that?
It's completely heartbreaking because, again, it's like I look at all these great people and I say, like, this is my family. Like, I see myself in them. And I just wish that, John Fisher and Dave Kaval can feel the same way about these amazing fans. I mean, the Bay Area, especially Oakland fans, they're the best fans in the whole world. And I'm not just saying it because I'm the Oakland mayor, but like I go to so many different games all across the country or what have you. And Oakland fan base is like no other. The loyalty is so deep. It runs in people's DNA. And, even if they have to spend that check to buy 2 jerseys, they will, because like that's the meaningfulness of it, right? It's just not about the money. It's about, the quality of life, and the A's reputation is part of their quality of life. And so, to have that be stripped away without having a voice, like, it's frustrating and it's fucked up.
What happens next for you?
No. Yes.
What happens next? Because these people don't just fade into oblivion. They still live in Oakland, and they don't have a baseball team. They don't have a football team, and their basketball team went across to San Francisco. So what do you tell them?
What we did with the Ballers, I'm wearing a Baller shirt. Baller is our minor league team that we actually just established. When I had to,
the park looks beautiful, by the way.
you.
Yeah,
You
nice
should
job.
Come out. So, and this is an example of what folks are saying around, like, oh, well, the city of Oakland is not. You can't get anything done, and this is me showing them bullshit, right? Because what happened was this was a conversation in response to Dave Kaval and John Fisher moving our team to Las Vegas, and so I met with these two community members who were like, we can't let this happen. Let's create our own team. We worked together for about 6 months, and then within 6 months of breaking ground, we have a whole new stadium in Ramondi Park. Ramondi Park used to be like a huge encampment prior to my mayoral, me taking on the mayoral seat. And so when I came in, I tore it down and gave everybody housing, that wanted it. And so from that point, it's now Ramondi Park is now the home of the Ballers, and it's amazing. And so for anybody, any naysayers that says that we can't get anything done in Oakland, no, that only means that you're not a true partner, because when you come to the table and you're a true partner with the city, we can definitely get things done.
And it felt like there was never a moment of true partnership between A's ownership and the city of Oakland. It felt like empty promises, empty words, not on your part, on their part. And I'm sure nothing is perfect on any angle of this, right? But the man with the most amount of money sitting at the table usually controls the conversation at the table. And it just felt like seating control is all the Fishers have ever done. Speaking of Major League control, can you tell us about your impressions of Rob Manfred as commissioner of Major League Baseball? Has he done anything to help you make a case to keep this team here, or has he been working against you in real time at all times?
With the commissioner, I want to say that, of course, he has his bosses, right? His bosses are the owners of the teams. But what I can say is that when I flew up to Seattle and I requested for a meeting, that he did give me a meeting. And he didn't have to.
So you've been in the room with him once, too?
Correct. With him once. And then not just that, but he could have just said, okay, great, give me all of your plans or what have you. But he actually took the time and sat down and went with myself and my staff. I brought my staff with me to go, to answer any of the questions that he had or his legal person had. And so, I just want to appreciate that at least he gave us a time of day to understand a different version of the story that he was being told, because I believe he didn't say this, but I do believe that John Fisher and Dave Kaval was giving him a different story than what was actually happening.
Without a doubt.
And so I thought that was
funny. Numbers are at the root of the Oakland A's.
How funny, the details. And so what I can say is that I really appreciate Commissioner Rob Manfred for giving us the time and for really sitting down listening, because he had some really great questions that we were able to answer. At the end of the day, he has his own bosses, and those are the team owners. And so I really do think that this is a Dave Kaval, John Fisher issue.
What's the biggest misconception about the city of Oakland?
I think the biggest misconception, I talked about it a little bit, is that somehow we can't get anything done, and somehow we were the problem in this whole deal, in this whole initiative. Mind you, we moved so many different legislation, right? From this is right on the water, so we have to go to BCDC. We got them to clear it and call and allow for the land to be used in a different way outside of just for the port. And then not just that, but we had to pass legislation, right, at the state level, and that was passed. And then they wanted not only just a ballpark, they wanted all the real estate.
That's the thing. So and this is my final question. I'm sure you got a busy day, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
To stay in Oakland, not only did they need the new ballpark, they needed a glass Abu Dhabi around the ballpark. But to go to Las Vegas, all they need is a ballpark.
Yeah, and that's
I cannot help but smell the bullshit coming off of that.
Absolutely, and that's what pisses me off. It's like, if you just wanted a ballpark, that could have been done shovels in the ground, right? But
at Howard Terminal or at the site of the Coliseum?
Whichever site you pick. Howard Terminal is ready to go. Coliseums have been always ready to go. That would have been the quickest way to get a new stadium.
Fix.
CEQA cleared and everything already. But they insisted on Howard Terminal and being closer to downtown. It's like, okay, that's fine. And so shovels would have already been in the ground, but they wanted this full real estate complex, and
most expensive construction project in the history of the state of California.
Yes, absolutely. But you know what?
They can't afford a first baseman. but they want the largest construction project in the history of the state of California.
This is all very enlightening for people that are outside of Oakland, because right now we are broadcasting to everybody, and I think there's people that are unaware of these types of inner workings.
Well, what I can tell you is that, we have the U.S. Conference of Mayors where all the mayors converge twice a year. And I cannot tell you how many mayors have come up to me, bipartisan, Republican, Democrats, whatever, have come up to me and said, hey, can you give me some thoughts about, what you're going through? Because we've been watching, you do this work, and our team is trying to do the same thing too, where they're forcing the city to pay for a new stadium, or the threat, and it is a threat, the threat is we'll leave.
Socialize the construction, privatize the profit.
That's right. There you go. We know that in sports like soccer or / football, right, in other countries, that this is exactly how it's run. So that there's investments directly from the community, that the community co-owns it, so they can't just up and leave. And so, again, it's more than just baseball. It's more than just making people money. This is about culture. This is about family, and so we got to really change the narrative on this. And I'm just really happy that you two are here speaking up and continuing to speak up in regards to what more we can do as the fan base, right? Because again, we are stronger together, and so long as we stick together and we move forward in a certain fashion, I can see so many other fans from different states really coming to support and also be a part of this.
Have you? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Have you called the mayor of Sacramento and just been like, what the fuck?
Mayor Steinberg and I, we are friends. And so, at the end of the day, they needed a stadium. And I'm not one to say, if they were not going to, I was not going to accept them to extend their lease without these provisions.
By the way, I'm glad you played hardball on that. I really am.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but at the end of the day, you're not going to abuse us. My background, I'm a domestic violence survivor. And so when I start feeling like those kind of emotional abuse.
There's a lot there, isn't there? Isn't there some correlation there?
Yes, there is.
I feel funny when I bring it up because I don't want to mess around with the concept of domestic violence and compare it to sports, but there is an abuser, an abused, and a inability to leave an abuser situation that has happened here.
And that's exactly right. And as a survivor, it really hit home in regards to those different aspects. And so, but they needed a home and they were going to go somewhere anyway. And so, I'm glad that they're still in California to play for the year, or I don't know, whatever
bullshit they're coming up with this week.
But remember, I have warned the legislators in Las Vegas, watch out for John Fisher and Dave Kaval. They don't actually back up their word, and they didn't listen. Right, the majority of them didn't listen. They went moving forward, and guess what? Now, what are we seeing?
Have you seen just this week?
Yes, exactly.
Just this week.
And that's what I'm talking about. It's one of those things where it's like, I told you so. It's like, this is exactly how they operate. It's like, look over here. Oh, and by the way, we're going to do this. And it's like, wait, that was not part of the deal. And that was always the case. This is a great example of what moving the flagpole looks like for Dave Kaval and John Fisher.
Can A's fans hold out hope for an expansion team one day?
I would say 100%, either an expansion team or the team being sold, whether to Vivek or Joe Lakeup or whoever, and then come back to the Coliseum.
Or Howard Terminal, if you guys could put shovel the ground tomorrow.
Yeah, or Howard Terminal, but there is I'll be really frank, there is a window in regards to Howard Terminal. And so with that being said, I really do hope that there is a push and a pressure to have the team be sold, and that it could be bought by a person who cares about baseball, and that we can work with them to get them back to Oakland, to either the Coliseum or the Howard Terminal.
Joe Lakeup would be a good buyer, huh?
He would be a terrific buyer.
It's amazing what billionaires with juice and influence can do. Self-made men, not inherited it, right? You feel there's a little concept going on there too?
I'm just going to sit here.
You're just gonna.
Mayor Sheng.
Silence is deafening, Madam Mayor.
Nice enough to join us down here. Well, this was really special for us to meet you personally. As you can see, this is just a wonderful group of people. This place, Line 51, has opened up its doors. All these people have welcomed us. I flew in from New York yesterday, and the moment that my feet touched the ground, it was, thanks so much for being here. These people are amazing. Last dive bar, the Oakland 68s. Everybody is just top-notch people. So you've got great people to potentially support and have them support you. So I appreciate you coming down to support them as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me again. Thank you for doing this work, covering this fiasco, because I think that there's a lesson here to be had in regards to how people treat the team as just a commodity and part of their portfolio, that it's more than that.
You got my vote, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is great. Mayor Sheng Thao joining us here for the
love
city
the
of
picture.
Oakland.
Let's
We're going to
do a quick picture.
That was really fantastic. Thank you again for joining us. Let's hear it for the mayor, everybody.
Mayor of Oakland.
That was really, really incredible stuff. Really incredible stuff. Her heart's in the right place right there. Really great stuff. Let's hear it for the mayor, everybody. She put her butt on the line. And right now she's hugging members of Last Dive Bar, meeting people. And
Damon, I'm sorry. What you heard there was a level of political transparency that only comes when you know you're in the end game.
Right.
Every politician has to be carefully standing on a balance beam to upset no one.
Yep.
And you can feel that this is a woman who is well beyond that point. And she's ready to just be honest about the situation. And I don't think you're going to hear any mayor in America discuss relations and negotiations with a major league franchise as frankly as the mayor of Oakland just spoke with us.
You've been in this game a little bit longer than I have, but I've done this now for 20 some odd years, and I've had politicians try
Same boat, same. You're 3 years younger than me. Big deal.
Okay.
I'm just grayer.
I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody on either side of the fence, sports, professional front office, or the political side of things, the politician side, that could really be as frank as that. That was incredible.
Yeah.
That interview will go viral. There's no doubt about it. I've never heard a mayor be that frank about things that have happened behind the scenes.
There's nothing left to do but tell the truth.
Right.
The time for bullshit is past. The time for... Here's the thing. What she said may have offended some. The truth doesn't care about who it offends. The truth can't care about who's offended by it. And the honest to God's truth, again, this is not our hot take. This is not our opinion, Damon. The honest to God's truth is that nothing but poorly intended negotiations have ever taken place with the past three mayors. I've talked to the last three mayors of Oakland. Mayor Kwan, 2 mayors ago, she really thought that someone from Abu Dhabi would solve her problems. She was out of her depth. She didn't last very long. They bring in Mayor Libby Schaaf, who said all the right things, but on her watch lost both the Warriors and the Raiders. Whether she was responsible for that or not is another show we'll do another day. John Fisher has been handed the keys to this city, and he gave them back.
Ooh, I tell you, when you walk through it, you ask some great questions. When you walk through it piece by piece of what she inherited, as you said, steaming pile of what. But also, she gets a phone call from her people saying, hey, we're close. We're probably going to announce this tomorrow that we can get this thing done in Howard Terminal. And that night, Dave Kaval calls her and says, hey, full steam ahead to Vegas.
Yeah.
And she's kind of left agape like, wait a second, what just happened? And to hear, we could do this, we could do this, we can clear this, we can do this. If it was just shovel in the ground, we could have done that years ago. We will move all of the things around that you need. And then when you do that, you actually do that, and they call you on the phone, not even John Fisher,
right?
But Dave Kaval calls you.
It's
the
wacky.
Night of the next day is going to be, we can announce we got a deal done, to say, nah, sorry, all attention's in Vegas.
Right.
That is as eye-opening, as transparent, and as wow as you're going to get.
Yeah. Now, I think the city of Oakland has been under an avalanche of the A's bullshit. And as you just heard from the mayor of Oakland, she's not going to tolerate any more of it. I think it's very smart to stay politically friendly to Rob Manfred, but she knows that this ship has sailed. I really believe that, because she's been on the USS John Fisher, and she knows
the Fisher ship
she
has
gets
sailed,
it.
no
She
doubt.
gets it. She understands that someone who never really wanted to be here has proven it so implicitly that there's no bailing the water out of that boat. In order for this boat to remain in the port of Oakland, it needs a new owner. A new owner could be brought in today at an insane amount of profit for John Fisher, but John Fisher refuses that insane amount of profit in the name of his own self-glorification and gratification to say that I'm the guy who brought baseball to Las Vegas. Let me tell you right now, even if he does, Damon, he will never be regarded as the guy who brought baseball to Las Vegas. He will be regarded as the guy who took baseball from the city of Oakland.
And I'll tell you what, I said this to Casey, and I really believe this, and Casey echoed it. Vegas will be a very good baseball town if and when they get a team.
Sure.
They're an event town. It's going to be, if they can finally get the ballpark done, it can be done well, it can be positioned well. They have a lot of road fans that will travel, much like Raiders games. But what they do not want, and I'm just speaking on behalf now of Vegas, you'll get your expansion team because baseball's already talked about expansion. How many times now Rob Manfred's been open? We're going to expand. We're going to expand. They'll get that. They should say absolutely no to John Fisher. Why would you inherit this? Because it's not like he's going to suddenly become a different person in Las Vegas. Why would you say yes to that guy?
I feel like you figured out the Rubik's Cube.
You're
I feel
beaming
that
right now.
you knew all the colors and all the sides, but you've finally seen the whole thing now that you've been here and now that you've talked to her and you realize this isn't just me trying to be interesting as a guest on your show or anything like that. There is something afoul going on here, and what makes it even harder to comprehend is why in God's name would owners who are addicted to money leave money on the table just to continue to do business in and around John Fisher? It makes no sense. Like the mayor said, there's a relocation fee that normally happens, or there is an expansion fee that normally happens, and they're waiving both for John Fisher to have thoroughly ruined one market and then come into the next one and ruin that one too. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen here.
No doubt.
They will be the Pittsburgh Pirates.
There's no doubt.
They will build a gorgeous ballpark, I'm sure, wherever they build it, right? It'll be great. The architect will be responsible for that. And then the funding will come in and they'll build something very impressive. And then you will see John Fisher go out of his way to not put a major league team on the same field as his new ballpark, as he has avoided putting a major league team on this field. He is so cash strapped. He is what we call in San Francisco, he's a marina millionaire. He's a $30,000 a year millionaire. And that's what I think we're looking at with John Fisher. He is an on paper billionaire, and the only way for him to be an actual billionaire again is to increase the value and then sell the team.
I'll tell you, that interview, we're going to clip that up. We're going to post that on YouTube. That should cycle throughout the city of Oakland, the state of California.
That should be on MLB Network tonight.
That's absolutely right.
That should be on ESPN tonight.
That's absolutely right.
That should be in front of every sports fan because, again, this could happen to you.
Yep.
It just takes one owner who wants to abandon a town as a sports owner. That's all it takes.
That was amazing. We will pull that out and put it on both of our YouTube pages. By the way, if you're watching right now via Watch DA Live on @Damon Amendo on YouTube, you got to make sure you subscribe as well to Damon Bruce Plus on YouTube. This guy does Bay Area stuff every single day. He's been doing it for a long time. This guy is as good as they come. You heard his line of questioning with the mayor. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Make sure if you follow me, you're following him. Vice versa. If you're following him, subscribe to Damon Bruce Plus, subscribe here, because this is just the start of, I think, how we really look at this whole situation. Standing by, we'll go to the sideline once again. BZ is standing by with another big-time A's fan.
Thanks, Damon. Brian Zambor here, man of the people here at Line 51, and I've got another A's fanatic next to me here, Jorge Leon. Jorge, tell me a little bit about how you became an A's fan.
Yeah, so I grew up around the Coliseum, so growing up around that area, you saw the bright light. So every summer we would go there, and that's how I became an A's fan with Mark McGuire, Ricky Henderson. I mean, I'm going to tell you some random ones. Stan Javier, Scott Heeman, Troy Neal, AJ Hinch was a catcher back then. And that's how I became an A's fan. It was just kind of a natural thing. You know, I would cut school. Everything that Ricky Henderson and Dave Stewart were talking about, that's exactly what I would do. I would sneak in because we were a lower income family at that time. And that's how it all started.
That's amazing. And we've heard a lot of stories about how A's fans have this incredible passion for this team today and how they share that passion. And I want you to talk about the Oakland 68s. Can you share a little bit about what this organization is, how it got started, and what's it about?
Yeah, sure. So the how it all got started is like the bleacher community is amazing because it's a general admission. So every time we would go to A's games, we would go to so many that we would see the familiar faces. And so we ended up like sitting together. We're also soccer fans. And so in the soccer community, it's called supporters groups. And so then we were already kind of a supporters group, but we weren't official. Until 2017, we came up with a name. Hey, let's call ourselves the Oakland 68s. The reason being is because not only were the A's came to Oakland in 1968, but also the Olympics in Mexico, which we represent a lot of the community in Oakland. We don't only do baseball, but we support the Oakland Roots, the Soul, baseball teams in the OAL League, which is the high school community. And I think that Oakland 68s was a perfect name for it. We're a nonprofit organization. We volunteer for the Alameda County Food Bank. We raise funds for the youth clubs. We do a whole lot of things than just being fans.
I mean, again, just exemplifying the amount of love and passion that this community has for this team. I've got a little cell flag in front of me. If you won't mind helping me hold it up here, let's see if we can get it on camera. Tell me a little bit about the cell flag.
Yeah, I mean, the passion's been around. Since I was born. You know, I grew up in a household where, you know, you're loyal to your city and to your team, and with that comes the mindset that, you know, ownerships have to prove that they belong in the community as well. So the sell thing came along in 2009 when we were still asking Fisher back then to sell the team. I mean, we've been fighting to keep the A's in Oakland since 1998, and I think that. So I created a sign in the bleachers in 2009 that said "sell." I also created the Lou Wolf Light He Never Tried sign. We've hung all those bed sheet banners since then, and we've done shirts since then. It didn't quite take flight until last year and 2 years ago. So now it's a whole movement, and this what you see right now. That's my handwriting. That's my spray paint ability, and Oaklandish literally took it from the banner that I hung up, and they created a shirt, and the rest is history. You know, it's I've gotten arrested in the Coliseum for hanging up a banner that says "sell." I've gotten arrested for the Lou Wolf Light He Never Tried. I mean, it's been a whole battle, man. It's exhausting.
Well, Jorge, thank you for your service, and if I may, Johnny Boy, can you just stick to the boot cut and slim fit? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And just sell the team. Sell the team. Back to you, Damons.
All right, nice. All right, that's beautiful. Great stuff. I love that flag. I mean, this has really been a special day for me. And
you see the Matrix now.
Oh, no
you
question.
Get it.
No
now
question.
You get it. Yeah, I mean, you got it.
No
but now
question.
you really get it.
Totally. And my heart breaks for everybody that came out here to watch this, to be part of this, to go to the Reverse Boycott. And I just want to make this very clear, if I haven't already. All of the retweets, all of the comments, all of the likes, all of the subscribers. I don't make A's stuff content-wise, rants on my show, clip it for social media, videos here on Watch DA Live, etc. because of the commodity of it. I do it because my heart just is with a bunch of people that have been thankful. When somebody comes to you with gratitude, you just feel like responding with it. Like, hey, thank you for saying thank you and whatever I can do for you. And everybody in this place has felt the same way and said the same thing to us today. And that's a powerful feeling. And I know that my listeners feel that very much through the screen, that I care that a bunch of people that don't deserve to have their heart broken keep getting it stomped on.
Hey, you know,
today is pretty amazing to just celebrate that feeling, because
I know that might have been what pulled you in, and it's very nice of you to say that the response to it has, affected you and touched you personally. And at no point in time is a sports talk show host a capital J journalist, but you're a lowercase j journalist, and I think you know enough about where stories are. And you know that there's a story here, a story that has been poorly told, a story that has not been shared, and a story that the more sunlight gets on top of it, the more people will become invested in it.
Yep.
And it might be a bridge too far to save the Oakland A's, but if this story can be the story that saves the next owner who's trying to do this to a fan base in another town, in another market,
that's right.
Maybe we'll have done a little good here today. Maybe we'll have done a little something that lets fans who I'm sure sometimes feel like they're just screaming into the void, into the echo chamber, know that they are being heard. Now, what does being heard officially get you? It gets you two guys named Damon in a brewery at this point in time here for the A's.
The payoff is low.
But but maybe, if this isn't how it ends, maybe it's how it starts. I don't know anymore. Like I said, I'm going to my 5th final game ever in Oakland here tonight. And it feels like it just, like the Band-Aid needs to come off one way or the other. It just has to happen now. We have been in a sports purgatory that I would wish on no one, not my worst enemy. I went to Indiana. I wouldn't wish this on Purdue fans. I really wouldn't. This is a terrible existence as a sports fan. And God bless these good people who are still coming out wearing Kelly green and white and gold and rooting for a team that does not love them back.
These are good people out here, really good people. And hey, I just wanted to get everybody's attention. I want to once again say thank you to everybody out here.
Thank you, Line 51.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So one of the biggest sports chills.
This is so cool. All you guys celebrate one another. Yeah! That is so cool. And now, for Line 51 for having us. Line 51.
And thank you, and Damon, look, I really mean it. While you're saying the thank yous to the room and working the crowd, let me just say thank you to you. Let me say thank you to you on behalf of these fans who are about to come say thank you to you in person, who haven't met you yet, but I know you're about to shake every single hand in here. Thanks to you for taking time away from your family to come and be a part of this. It means an awful lot to every single person in this room. I think it means a lot to your audience. I think it means a lot to you, and that's what makes you a special guy. And I'm glad that you're out here, and this was a pleasure to hang out with you today. And next time you're in town, the guest room is yours, man.
Man, I appreciate that very much. I just feel really lucky to be kind of stuck in the middle of this. And a lot of people were like, oh, you're going to do your sports, you're going to do your SiriusXM show out there. I'm like, nope. They're like, oh, they're sending you out there from your company. No, this is not a business trip. This is a personal trip, because I feel an incredible amount of gratitude to these people who have reached out to me and said, thank you for saying what you did. And I think you probably feel the same way. When you do what we do, of course, you chop up the game and you want to take this point, rip this guy, get this guy fired, what have you, that there's all fun and games there. But when somebody says what you're doing is actually important, man, that resonates.
Yeah.
Because when you just speak in sports a lot of the time, sometimes it feels very frivolous. When what you do is important, you go, man, I want to lean into that because people are really touched by that, and I'm touched that they're touched. And so this group of people here is super special.
We're lucky guys. We get to work in the toy department of life.
Totally.
You know, we are where people come to root and complain about all the fun things that distract them from their real problems. And to have a team like this truly insert itself into your real problems. As we were talking about earlier, you know, what's the number one way to rob a person of their dignity? It's to take what was theirs from them, to let them know that the culture that they grew up in now no longer matters, to let them know that the songs that their grandparents taught them now no longer can be sung. And that is a painful thing for people to go through. This is a room full of pain. And pain, as we all know, can become beautiful. And you will see an awful lot of beautiful pain tonight at the Coliseum when you're there. And when you go up to people and you ask them about their first trip to the Coliseum, they're going to get tears in their eyes as they tell you about the grandparent who's no longer with them, about the child that they feel funny about giving this to because it won't be there as the child grows. And it's a painful thing. And it's a shame that it's happened. And it's happened because of the will of one man, because of the greed of one man. No one benefits from the A's relocation other than John Fisher.
That's right.
And I'll tell you, you and I were just in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl together. Did you see a single A's hat? Did you see a single shred of evidence of excitement that this team is coming to their town?
A lot of, oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Not a bit.
That team? Well, we want to end on a high note here because this crowd is great. And so let's get the guest chair here.
Oh, he's coming up with us.
Coming up with us because we have standing by the fake president of the Oakland Athletics. The real president is known as Dave Kaval. This guy is Dave Kaval. Dave, come on up here. Let's hear it for Dave, the fake president.
Fake Dave Kaval, everybody. Fake Dave
A's.
Kaval. Great to see you, Dave.
It's great to see you. My two favorite Damons. I just want to say I want to thank you so much for all your support, especially you, Mr. Bruce. On the radio, I've listened to you for a lot of years, and you've always supported me, and it's great to talk to you two again. Even though we've never talked, it's great to talk to you again.
Again, congratulations on the 5 food trucks that you parked outside of the Coliseum 8 years ago. What an accomplishment.
Absolutely, and I will take all the credit for that, even though I had absolutely nothing to do with it. You see, my business model is having everybody else do my job for me, and I just show up and take the credit.
This is an exciting group of people here. They're very, very excitable A's fans.
Absolutely. And, you know, they've been supporting me for years, and I really appreciate all the support that they give me. And, you know, it's going to be amazing when we try to move to Vegas. And I've been telling them since FanFest that it's probably going to fall through, but we're really hopeful that we get to do it.
Now, will we know that the move to either the temporary move to Sacramento or a permanent move to Las Vegas, will it become a reality when you change your lapel pin from the latrine trough urinal to an actual individual urinal? How excited about individual urinals are you and really the entire franchise?
So, you know, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Damon, because in the new owner's suite for John, we're actually going to have a gold-plated trough urinal in his suite. And we're also thinking to save money because the individual ones are really expensive. And as you know, we're not going to pay for anything we don't have to. So we're actually going to bring the troughs as a nod to our Coliseum days and bring those with us wherever we end up going.
Keep that tradition alive. Abandon all of the World Series. Abandon the team colors, but keep the urinals. That's the A's way.
Absolutely. And I've actually been giving out these stickers today. It really captures my likeness here. So that's John's hand, controlling me because
it's a puppet.
Because as we all know, I don't have any original thoughts of my own. And every time I do open my mouth, my nose grows. You could just ask my wife. And when you ask her, tell her I said I miss her because she hasn't talked to me in a long time. She's an Oakland A's fan.
Well, this is an exciting time for all of us, obviously, and we just had the mayor on. And when Damon asked whether you were negotiating good faith, she wouldn't answer. So I think she really, really has a good relationship with you.
Absolutely. And if there's anything I know about is faith, because I've had faith in us getting a stadium deal for a really long time.
How many stadium renderings do you have in like your rumpus room? There's got to be 35 different stadium renderings that you show to everyone and then brag about how you've accomplished none of them.
Absolutely. So you know that guys have trophy rooms. I've got rendering room. They're all around the walls and frames. But it's funny you brought up the renderings. A lot of the fans that love me that are here today were asking if I had any new renderings to show them. And honestly, I don't, because those were costing about $1 million a pop.
Per rendering.
For a rendering. And we were releasing them like once a month.
Yeah, you get a Bark Angles rendering. That's expensive.
So you know what we're going to do there, Mr. Bruce, is we're going to take all that money that we were saving and we're going to fight schools over stadiums.
It's about time somebody put that robust Las Vegas school system back in line where it belongs.
Because I don't care about education.
No, you don't even care about baseball apparently.
And I'm not even that educated. So why would I care?
You cheated Stanford.
I actually didn't graduate Stanford. My dad bought my degree. You know what he said at the time was he didn't want to be the father of a Stanford dropout.
Are you always so happy?
Haven't you seen my eyes?
Fake Dave
Kaval.
Actually, can I break some news real quick?
Yeah, please.
So earlier this week, we announced that we were going to play 8 away from home games. We ended up dropping it to 7 for lucky number 7 in Las Vegas.
Nice.
But you know us, we like to have parallel paths. So we're going to get the team conditioned to play in a AAA stadium next year in Sacramento, as we all know. So the next logical step would be an NCAA stadium.
Oh.
UNLV, baby. We're going to play either at UNLV.
Is it too late to get the A's into the College World Series?
I don't know if our AAA team could make it there. But the parallel to that, and everybody is going to really love this idea, is we're going to come back here and play 7 games at the Coliseum. How amazing would that be? And I know that all of the A's fans would come out and support that idea.
That would be fantastic.
Hey, and anybody out there watching, we're going to be in Lot B later on today. Section 134 is where you can find me. I'm taking pictures and 138. You know I'm lost. I don't even know the sections of the Coliseum. I usually just sit in the upper deck by myself and don't get to talk to anybody.
Thank you, Dave. Thank
great
you.
job. Great job.
David.
All right, let's
Thank
hear
you.
from
Thank you, Dave.
Kaval, everybody.
Dave Kaval.
The president of
That
the
guy
Oakland
cares.
A's. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're booing him. They're booing him. This is totally epic. This is totally epic. There's double birds being thrown out to fake Dave Kaval. This couldn't be any better. I am so happy. Everybody, we will do raffles after we sign off the air. Raffles with the last dive bar stuff coming up after we sign off the air in just minutes. So once again, thank you to Last Dive Bar, everybody, for putting this thing together. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for watching on YouTube. Thank you very much to my wife, who without Jillian, I don't know if we're on the air today, right?
Okay, so for those behind the scenes, Jillian has been the ultimate IT person, the ultimate AV person. She's been helping me plug things in, plug things out, do this, audio check this, mic check that. You were the VIP MVP today.
Thank you. A surprise remote for someone who's never done a remote is always really fun. So go A's.
We pulled it off, though.
Nice
We pulled
job.
it off. We pulled it off. You did a great job.
Tech industry finally pays
my
off.
Gosh. Oh, Jillian was an
Thank
absolute
you.
savior.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you to my producer, Aiden, back at the
Thank you,
Mission
Aiden.
Control.
Thank you, Aiden.
Executive producer, Aiden of Watch DA Live Sunday
The
nights.
cartoon of the mayor that you had was incredible. Who drew that?
Yeah, he's
Oh my
he's
God.
a wizard. He's a wizard. We call him the Marquette Marvel because he went to Marquette and he's a prodigy and he produces my Sunday night show. And this week we're doing this show and maybe we'll do a Sunday night show. We'll see.
Shout out Al McGuire wherever he is.
I mean, totally. He is a baller. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in this building because what you guys did was you came out for the A's and you came out for this brewery and you came out for Last Dive Bar and you came out for us. And we appreciate it very much. So thank you to everybody out there. Let's hear it for everybody.
Thank you very, very much.
This was awesome. This was truly
Thank
awesome.
you.
This was truly, this was awesome.
Now, wait a minute. Which one?
Yeah, which one? That guy. Yeah, that guy. That guy. That's okay. We got stuff to give away. We got beers to be drank. We are not turning down anything here. We are partying up until the game time, then going in, and we're partying in the left field bleachers as well. So everybody, F. John Fisher.
F. John Fisher. F. John Fisher. F. John Fisher.
F. John Fisher. F. John Fisher. F. John Fisher.
Music.
F. John
Music
Fisher.
to my ears. It's beautiful.
This is beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. This was awesome. To Line 51 Brewery, to Last Dive Bar, to the Oakland 68s, to the mayor that joined us, Grant Balfour, and everybody else.
And to you.
This was awesome, man. This was so much.
And, you know, even though he ditched us, 93 Till, still a hell of a song.
Oh, my God. 93
Still a hell
Till
of a
is
song.
just the best.
It's hard to get a rapper in Oakland. It's much harder to get a rapper to show up on time. It's even harder to get him from Europe.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that fell through.
Souls of Mischief performing in Europe. You wanted to join by Zoom, but who knows? Festo from Europe, a bit dicey as a booking guest. So we'll probably try to have him on at a different time. But thanks, everybody, for joining us. This was so much fun. Share this amongst your friends. If you're in the Oakland community, make sure that you share this. We're going to put out clips on both Damon's YouTube page and my YouTube page, the mayor interview, the Grant Balfour interview.
And thank you, Damon.
Everything
Thank
else.
you. Thank you.
This was my pleasure. I can't wait to go out and tailgate. I can't wait to go out to the ballpark. This is so much fun. You guys have no idea how much this means to me to be embraced this way for a city that I've really never been to. I passed through Oakland. I came for the San Francisco-Santa Clara Super Bowl and had brief interludes in Oakland, but I never spent much time here. And so this is awesome. I went down to Jack London Square, who went to the first and last saloon, which was 1880s.
Nice.
Badass yesterday. So I can't wait to get into this inside this dump later on tonight. That's it for us here from.
Oh, we're breaking glasses. Party started.
I thought they were booing me.
Party started.
Party has started. We are signing off. Thanks, Aiden. Thanks, everybody. This is awesome. For Damon Bruce, I'm DA. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. The Mothership Disconnect!